Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It's great to be with you. Today is Friday, June 20th, 2025. We get together most weekday mornings. We have these trainings. We record most of these trainings, and most of the past trainings are up on our YouTube channel. So I always do want to encourage you to go back and maybe reflect on some that you may have missed. We're going to talk about making money today. And no, this isn't some corny scam, Ponzi, MLM pitch, not at all. But we're going to talk facts and figures. That's really all I want to do is just talk about factual information. So I saw this report. Now, granted, it came out yesterday on June 19th, but it popped up on my news feed. I saw it this morning. I thought, well, what an interesting topic. Because from a psychological perspective, I think you would agree, people often can wrongly infer that everyone else is like them. What do I mean? A lot of times, if you ask a broke person about making money, it's sometimes a psychological barrier because they're in their current circumstance. They're often surrounded by people of similar circumstance, and it would be real easy for them to think, well, I can't make a lot of money. That's too good to be true. But with that, this is CNBC, so a very reputable third party news media outlet. And they reported as of yesterday that last year, which, they go year by year, so this is the most recent data, that the United States, so we're not talking about other countries, just here where you and I live, there was a thousand new millionaires formed every day last year. So any of us that has this internal pessimism of no, I can't make a lot of money, you're wrong. But you do have to have an economic engine to make a lot of money because we're not going to steal, we're not going to cheat. So we're going to have to solve someone's problems and we're going to have to make money. Sometimes talk to some of you and there seems to be a disconnect, right? We need as entrepreneurs to solve people's problems. We need to provide a good and or a service that they pay you for. That's how businesses make money. And as we'll talk about in a few minutes, the greatest segment of these new millionaires are entrepreneurs, just like you, just like me. So the question, and maybe it's a little bit rhetorical, but so last year, a lot of people prospered. They hit higher levels of income than they ever had before. Not a few people, 1,000 new people per day. So, with that, my question to you is, were you one of them? Did you earn $1 million in 2024? Would you mind taking a moment and going into the Q&A? It's like a chat box of Zoom, just a simple yes or no. Just curious. Did you yourself earn at least $1 million in 2024? Yes or no? Because I'm absolutely confident every one of you can this coming year. Not by me pitching you something, not by me selling you something, because there is no cost to what we do. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We're offering a free opportunity. I hate to use that word, but a free opportunity for us to collaborate and not asking you to pay anything. This isn't buy some dream, but people are making incredible wealth, not people that were already rich. New people are becoming rich in our society every day, not a few, 1,000 a day. Why in the world wouldn't you want to be one of those this coming year in 2025? So there's some key stats that I pulled out of this article rather than going all the way through it with you this morning. So again, confirming to the number here, 23. So there are currently, so not new, but currently 23.8 million millionaires. So a lot of people make a lot of money. And again, like sometimes I'll talk to people about getting business loans and like, oh, no one gets business loans. Well, that's crazy talk. There's all kinds of lenders, all kinds of loan programs. Yes, a lot of people get business funding, but you have to qualify. A lot of people make a lot of money, but you have to have an economic engine that allows for that, right? You could be the best janitor in the school system and just be a rock star at being a janitor, but that economic engine's never going to materialize a large amount of money. Not that it's not important or valuable or honorable. So again, 379,000 new millionaires last year. So far from the responses you all gave me, none of you were one of this statistical group last year. So let's focus on accomplishing it this year. So that's 1,000 new people a day. And as I mentioned a moment ago, if you look at how are these people making money, lots of different things. Some are inventors, some develop software and sell their company. So there's lots of different ways. But the number one category of new millionaires are those that are entrepreneurs, those involved with entrepreneurialism. Because if you work for someone else, really no matter how good you are, you're typically going to face a capped income in general. But if you own your own business, as each of you do, most of you are what we call grant coordinators, resellers. You have your own business. You literally control the amount of money that you make. I was talking to Debbie and her husband, she's on this morning, and they're wonderful people. And they're at the beginning of their journey. They're getting their mindset right. They're in a tight position, and that's kind of all they can think about. But we need to understand that it's very attainable in our society to make a lot of money, but you have to have the right economic engine. Okay, so that's specifically what we offer is we want to go help entrepreneurs increase financial literacy, have fundable businesses, and get access to capital. So that's the deliverable. Those are the problems that you and I solve, the way that we work together with you. And there's no cost. Again, I'm not trying to sell you anything, not trying to sell you a dream, not trying to sell you something at cost. But as a grant coordinator reseller, that means the same thing. Sometimes we call that the opportunity fund. You can literally make $1 million a year. And again, if you're in a difficult spot or you've never made a lot of money, it's really simple to dismiss it. That's bullshit. That's not possible. Well, don't tell these people, these 1,000 a day last year that became millionaires. I'm not saying these are all of our resellers. I'm not trying to get you to infer that, but there are ways to earn legally and ethically a lot of money. So you need to hook your horse to the right wagon. You need to have an economic engine that can generate a large earnings. So as a grant coordinator reseller, again, we're not trying to sell you anything. You can go to 509pacific.org, sign up, and it's free. There's not even a contract. We don't ask you to sign. So there's no cost, there's no investment, there's no risk to be a grant coordinator. What do? We solve other people's problems. And again, that is what entrepreneurs do. We identify a problem, and your and my world, a lot of people want money to start or grow a business. But they often don't have a fundable business to get business funding. So you and I give away free Express Shelf corporations. With that, in our model, you're getting paid daily. And I think that's one of the risks. Some ways they say, oh, yeah, you'll get rich, but it's going to take a while. Well, most people don't have that patience. Most people don't have that bandwidth to wait for some unknown time to start making money because the bills are on our desk right now or in our inbox. So as a grant coordinator reseller, not only does it not cost you anything, there's no investment, you don't have to pay now or later, there's no risk, we're solving people's problems, but you're paid daily. I mean, every one of you should be paid today as a grant coordinator reseller. If not, we need to address what's wrong because there's people that have the problems out there. They need access to capital. You and I have a solution of getting them a fundable business. There's just no reason that today's not payday and tomorrow should be payday and Sunday should be payday. Even if you have religious beliefs, you should still be making money on holidays and holy days, not meaning that you're working on those days. Another key, and you'll see this if you dig deeper into people that make a lot of money. Let's say you went to medical school to be an orthopedic surgeon. We need medical experts, but you may be paid a lot, maybe $500,000 a year plus or minus, but you still have to perform surgeries and have office visits. There's only so much time in the day to make money if you're actively working. Our model, it's not network marketing, it's not MLM, but it does have a passive income participant, and that 5% is the back end 5% of each client's capital raise. So for each client you refer in, we guarantee them a minimum of 100,000, nothing too good to be true. You're getting at least, you are getting 5% of at least 100,000, so that's 5,000. And so we can track those numbers through, but in just a second we will. Also, we have overrides. And again, we're not network marketing, we're not MLM, it's not Ponzi, it's not bullshit. But just like a lot of aspects of a lot of roles in the financial industry, there's overrides. So take Kenny here. Kenny's currently projecting to bring in about 400 new clients between now and the end of the year. Those are his numbers, his projections, not me making it up. And he shared it with me yesterday. And I believe Kenny will meet or exceed that. So with that, what happens if some of those folks that Kenny brings in that gets an Express Shelf Corp sees Kenny doing really well and they want to do the same thing? Is Kenny competing with them? No. They can become a grant coordinator reseller. They make the 5%. And guess what? Kenny makes an equal override. So Kenny is not competing with his clients or not competing with others. And that's an important element of the model. So let's go through the process because, the concept sounds great, right? Bruno talks about being a billionaire. Well, that's pretty ambitious. We'll just focus on getting each of you to be a millionaire in the next 12 months. But I think a lot of people that haven't made much money, they often think that they're going to go from broke to rich immediately. And that rarely happens. I mean, you can buy a lottery ticket and see what happens, but it's normally not go from where you are to your end goal immediately. That's too good to be true. That normally does not happen. Therefore, we need to understand the process to make it realistic. So what we're suggesting is have a goal, break it down into little pieces. Let's enroll one client per day in the Express Shelf Corporation. You're paid up front, you're paid daily. You determine how much you're paid daily, so you can't ever say, well, it's not worth my time. It's interesting. I talk to a lot of people, and many of them are broke, and many of them are so busy being broke, they don't have time to make money. Think about how ironic that is. So, with that being said, we do need to have daily measurable goals to reach the end outcome. And so we would recommend, we're not forcing it on you. You own your own business. That's the beauty as a reseller or grant coordinator. You're the CEO of your business and you can set your own goals. But I think this is an attainable goal that any of us can hit, and it will result, and I'll show you how, in $1 million a year simply by enrolling one client a day. Nothing crazy, nothing outside the bounds of reality. So we already said that if you're making, and again, you're choosing what you make on the front end. You know that. If you don't know the comp plan, we can go through that. But you're controlling what you make on the front end. The back end is really where the wealth is created. So you're making 5%. So if you're enrolling one client a day and you're making 5,000 per from their capital raise, if there's 20 days you work in a month, assuming you're taking weekends and holidays off, guess what? That gets you to 100,000 a month. That's a pretty good number, right? But then there's 12 months in the year, so guess what? So this is literally the formula, the process to be a millionaire in the upcoming year. It's not by buying lottery tickets or hoping or praying. It's by working. It's by helping people solve their problems at the rate of one per day. Now, are there ways that you can accelerate that? Could you do more than one a day? Sure. Could you build a team and get overrides? Sure. But I'm just talking about at the most basic element, what you can do within your own control is help one client per day. And I think that's a doable amount, even if you're working another job full time. It should not require a full-time effort to enroll one client a day in a free shelf corp, right? How long will it take? I don't know. It depends on your prospects and how you pitch it and your effectiveness. But even if it took an hour a day, right? If you could work an hour or two, I don't know what it's going to take you. It depends on your circumstances. But if you can make an extra 5,000 a day by working an hour or two, is that not worth it? especially when you have no cost. You're not investing and hoping that it all works out. There's no investment other than your time and your energy. All right, so with that being said, we'll open it up for your questions, your comments, but our resources are the same as usual. We have our tech support line. This is the primary way we support you. Text us 903-347-8042, and we'll do everything we can to get back to you quickly, certainly within 24 hours in most cases. You can email us, you can schedule calls to become a grant coordinator, and I'll go ahead and pull it up here because I think a couple of you are new. So our nonprofit website is 509pacific.org. It's a 501c3 nonprofit set up in good standing, legitimate, honorable. We do what we say we'll do as soon as the screen catches up. So 509 Pacific. And so people looking for funding, the top part of the page is relevant, but that's not what we're talking about right now. To be a grant coordinator, which means the same thing as a reseller, which means the same thing as an opportunity fund, a little bit of information. They'd like you to watch 2 training videos so we're crystal clear. And the second one here we added within the past week. If you've not watched this second one, which is the same training as right here, strongly recommend you to watch it. I know we have a YouTube channel with lots and lots of trainings, but you can kind of get lost in that. But definitely, if you've not seen this training, which is the same as this training, please, please, please see it. But to become a grant coordinator reseller, no cost, fill out this, submit it, and we'll get you set up normally within 24 hours. And we're adding, I don't know how many dozens of new resellers in an average day. All right. So with that being said, and I said the YouTube channel, what questions, what comments, concerns do you have? And I'll stretch this out a little bit. I'm not trying to sell you some dream. I'm first of all clarifying that if you have self-limiting perspectives, it's your fault, right? The world's not out to get anyone. Everyone has equal opportunity. And frankly, to be successful and to be a millionaire, it's not based upon your starting point. It's not based upon your age, your race, your gender. It's frankly not based upon your education. It's, do you have an economic engine that can solve other people's problems that has a tremendous payout? And you're looking at whatever you want on the front end, whatever you want to add to the processing fee, you control that. Many of you are not adding anything to the front end, but that's up to you. Others are adding 500. Some are doing more. That's up to you. Separate trainings go into that. But the 5 points in the back end and the 5% override is really where you want to realize that's where the bulk of the money comes. All right, so I see Christy's got a question about this. So let's dig into that just to make sure everyone understands. So what do I mean by that? So the point is you control the what we call the processing fee for each client. You control whatever you want. You know that we need to pay our legal team $499.99 to do the documentation, to do the paperwork. So it's plus whatever you want. You're going to collect the full, you're going to get the client under contract. That's the role of a reseller. You're going to collect the full amount from the client. Well, why do you accept the full amount? Well, their contracts with you. We're the service provider, but you're the one there. You're the reseller. It's like a white label, private label approach. So you're going to get that full amount. If you know much about business, then you definitely need to realize the benefit of getting the gross income, because sure, you'll have this as an expense. This is the portion that comes to us to frankly do all the work. But the bottom line is you want that gross income, because the more money you have being deposited into your bank, you're not taxed, right? Businesses aren't taxed on income. They're taxed on profit. So you want maximum income coming in that's going to have the greatest impact to your borrowing capacity. Mr. Jackson has a great point. Yes. So on the back end, we do need you, and I should have mentioned that. We mentioned other trainings. You do want to enroll in the RMP, which is the Reseller Marketing, I'll abbreviate, program. If you want the overrides. Because if we're going to pay someone something, we want to have that in writing so we can show you, yep, we agreed to that. So we're all on the same page. You're paying us on the front end. So that's why we say there's no contract, because if you don't pay us, that's on you. There's no harm that's going to come to you for not paying us. But from our side, if we're obligated to pay you, we want to have a written agreement. We need to set you up in the system so you can earn the 5% and you can earn the overrides. The reseller marketing program, we've had other trainings on. If you're not familiar with that, I encourage you to go back and watch it. But yes, we do need you in the RMP to be able to get the back end, because we're promising to pay you and we don't want a he said, she said. Yes, we're promising to pay you 5%, but we want that in writing. So that way, frankly, you're protected and there's no one coming back saying, no, you promised 6%, you promised 10%. No, we promised 5%, and that's what's in writing. So you're right, Mr. Jackson. And if you need the RMP agreement, just text us and we can get it over. And the RMP also includes the landing page and drip marketing, e-contract. So there's lots of perks. Okay. Debbie asked about marketing material. Yes, ma'am. So once you become a reseller, which was over here, grant coordinator, once you fill this out, we send you an email. And Debbie, you and I actually talked this morning, and I believe, unless I'm mistaken, you received the onboarding, what we call the implementation packet. So you have for free the materials and resources to go take action. Kenny's talking about, yeah, the past training. So yeah, over time, any business evolves. If you went back and looked at Apple's videos from 3 years ago, their iPhones were different 3 years ago than they are now. So the most recent trainings are the most relevant. But sure, you're welcome to see all of them. They're not password protected. We're very transparent. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Our goal today is, I guess, twofold. If things aren't going really well for you financially, you control it. And I don't want you to take a position. I encourage you to not take a position. Oh, it's beyond my control. We have Dr. Fulcher. We have a number of people that are disabled. These are people that can't go out and get normal jobs or create normal employment. And they're pushing these types of numbers that we've been talking about, and they're handicapped. So am I saying you have to be handicapped to make a lot of money? No, of course not. But I'm saying that there's people that we have some client or some distribution partners that are not very healthy. We have some that are frankly not very educated, and even more directly, we have some that are not very smart. But those aren't prerequisites to be able to help people to solve their problems and make a lot of money. So it comes down to accountability. It's you. It's you that controls your income, but your income is going to be influenced by you and what economic engine you're using. Hopefully you understand how our economic engine works, and it's literally designed. It's not hoping that you'll be successful. It's literally designed. If you help one client per day, you will be part of this positive statistic next year. But you need to do this part. You can't just sit back and say, well, great, who's going to do that for me? Well, that's not the mindset of an entrepreneur. You're going to do it. You got to go find the prospect, and you got to educate them, and you need to enroll them. That's what you do. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back Monday morning. Let us know if you need anything. Best thing is to text us. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.